Hi, Living It Out Team 2, and welcome to Serving in 2016. It's good to be back with you guys, and I wanted to go over a few things for the outline and kind of just start with a couple of overall reminders. I feel like with the beginning of a new year, and also because I learned things all along the way, I just wanted to just kind of give us a couple of additional tips as we move forward. So the first thing is that I want you to consider that if you have a shorter set of verses, that you can change the intro from sort of that 150 to 200 words to more like 250 to 300 words. If you have a longer passage, it can go to 200 words. So I really want our length of verses to, or for us to think about that in terms of dictating the length of our intros. If we have more room, let's use it. Remember that the intros start with sort of a snappy hook, something to grab people in and get them reading. And then I've attached resources that will help you round out those introductions. Please use the resources, open them up. They're labeled by day. It's a PDF that should be attached. You should be able to turn it like either counterclockwise or clockwise if you don't have to read it like this. So go to view and see if you can rotate it if you're having any trouble with that. And remember that the resources are there to help you and prompt you, but you should be putting them into your own words as best you can. And the other piece I wanted to remind you about, remember the writer's cheat sheet that I gave you? That's kind of the checklist and goes over sort of the sections and what those look like. Pull that out and use it before you hit submit or send. I think that will give you some confidence about, did these areas do those things? And would love to hear when you hit submit, let me know how you're feeling about it and where you feel like I got it, and maybe the areas where you felt like maybe you weren't as confident, because we all have that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit through the outline. We are at week 2 of Awaken, and this is all about social well-being this week. If you remember last week, Ben started off by talking about career. These areas of well-being that were identified, these 5 areas, they are interdependent and always working alongside one another and together in order to determine our overall well-being. So you're going to see a little bit of crossover here this week between career or work and social well-being. And you're also going to see that crossover hopefully happen in future weeks too, but you're sort of the first week where we're going to see that happen. So we started with work and career, and then the other piece of this that I want you to consider is the verses. This set of passages is from Ecclesiastes. On both Monday and Tuesday, we're pulling from that part or portion of scripture, and we did last week too. So this gets tricky for us in context. So any sort of new thing that you can add to it, what I would appreciate is that since it's been over the weekend, if Monday can really be the sort of 30,000 feet context about Ecclesiastes, and then on Tuesday, if you can really drill down to specifically those chapter and verses, because you're pulling from both chapter 4 and verses, we're actually sort of reversing it, verses that are one after another. That's why I'm giving you real specific instructions there. This is that whole like, okay, drive in your lane. On Monday, this is really defining social well-being. So coming off of the weekend, and you'll see that there's resources there to help you. So be sure and really capture the what. That's what Monday is about. What is, again, social well-being? On Tuesday, it's the who before what. So this is digging into the point that Ben is making from the weekend about really focusing on people first. And so often it occurred to me, so often we wake up and what's the first thing that we think about in the morning? Is it who? For me, it's what. My to-do list starts running. And so that's really poking into that tension a bit. And you'll see there that, gosh, when we do that, that's where Ecclesiastes talks about how meaningless it all is. But until we really connect with who, both the who of around us and also with Christ. On Wednesday, then, is where you're going to see the crossover in work and social well-being. And this convergence is where you want to kind of dig into purpose and how our work and social come together towards our well-being. The relationships that we have at work, if we have that best friend at work. We talked a little bit about it last week in the Living It Out, but I don't think there's any problem in repeating some of this because it has such a profound impact. That's the tension. We underestimate all of this. We assume that it's the work that's the problem, or that's what we focus on, when in reality, it's often the people that we're helping and pouring into in that work environment. So you'll see lots of notes here for Wednesday. And then Thursday is we're stepping a little bit out of the weekend message a bit. We're going to run parallel to it. I think I talked to you a bit about this in November, that we want to do this a little more often to provide some new content. And this is sort of the step into that. So you'll notice on Thursday, we're going to be talking about We Are Our Friends and how critical the network of friendships and social is to defining who we are and the influence that it has on us. I pulled several paragraphs from a blog there that came from Craig Groeschel. Actually, it was someone talking about Craig Groeschel and his talk on friends. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And so that's where I want you to camp out on Thursday. You'll notice that Friday is blank here because we're going to use that as kind of a worksheet space a bit and just give people a little bit of room to breathe and to think about the equation that we've talked about. What do we know so far? And just sort of do a temperature check as we step further and further into well-being. So there'll just be 4 of you writing this week. I'm going to go ahead and take on Friday since that's kind of it's a hard thing for me to kind of lay out. And I think I can just jump into it and kind of do that worksheet and change it up a little bit to make it an interactive day. So hopefully that will end the week strong. Okay, so that's social well-being, and let me know if you have any questions, and I love serving with each of you. Thank you so much for all that you do. Our best for His glory, and I'll see you soon.